So we have joined the Church of Satan now, and we're about we're in what 2000? Yeah, 2003. Okay. We're continuing reading. However, I continue to read my next book here, which is also, I mean, I have these books. So we're going to move on. After we did the Satanic Bible, right? We did the Satanic Bible. Now we're going to the Satanic Witch. The Satanic Witch was a great book. It was written for women by a man. Why? Well, because that is the best perspective. The best way to trick a man is to learn what a man needs to be tricked by. How a man needs to be tricked. A man could tell a woman how a man can be tricked. The Satanic Witch was a great book. It's also worth reading by men. The Satanic Warlock was recently released by another reverend of the Church of Satan. Different aspect, but it's the opposite side of the mirror. The Satanic Witch was a great book. It helped women entrap and enslave and to control men, if they have enough power to do so. If you have nothing to bargain with, then you're no good witch at all. Continuing on. Satanic Witch was a great book. It taught women how to trick men, and how to protect themselves too. There was also some self-defense. One notable passage was modifying your high heels to incorporate weapons inside of them. Think about it. Okay, we moved on from the Satanic Witch. Also, there was a book by Blanche Barton, which I had previously just shown you. It was called The Church of Satan. It's about the church itself and the organization of the Church of Satan. So it's further reading if you want to be interested in exactly, the foundations and more insight, about the man, Louvet. There was some recommended reading inside this book, The Church of Satan, which I had shown you. And that recommended reading became everything that I was gonna do for a while. I'm telling you, that recommended reading was years, and I'm still doing it. Collecting the books that were recommended, and I nearly 7 years of collecting books here. Right after we had the Satanic Rituals, I have it bumping around here. I'm not just going to show you the books. I have something to say. It's on the table because I gotta mention it later. I read the Satanic Rituals, but I paused because some of it requires a lot of preparation. If you're very young or you don't have, you're still starting, it's still an early idea to you. You're not likely to gather 35 very obscure items and put on a ceremony. It's not going to happen. It just doesn't happen. Not in your teens and not even in your early 20s are you prepared for that kind of ritual. There's no way. I mean, maybe if you have very rich parents and you're very focused on this topic, maybe. So I read the Satanic Rituals, but I paused because I didn't have anybody to celebrate with me. It was just me. And that did change. So we're going to move on. Later on, there would be the release of the Satanic Scriptures by Peter Gilmore. Now things get exciting, because after nearly 7 years later, after I had been, I've read the Satanic Bible here, and I reread it, and I started getting excited about it. It was about 7 years before that. Anton LaVey had died, and appointed who they were mutually familiar. They celebrated and knew each other well. Peter Gilmore became the new high priest of the Church of Satan. Now that was all well and good, but it wasn't until I saw the Satanic High Mass. I saw a video that was really, and it wasn't released immediately either. This was 2009 or 2010, right? This was 2009, 2010. I saw something that changed my life. The Satanic High Mass, what it did was, these rituals that I had already been dealing with for 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, these rituals were brought to life in front of my face. And I saw them acted out and performed perfectly. And it touched me so deeply. It made a terrific change in the way I felt. I cried. I cried when I saw it. I had read the words, I had seen the material, and I knew it very well. And when I finally saw the Satanic High Mass performed in front of me, the way I thought it would be, with all of the accompaniments, I cried. And I felt to myself that I need to ceremonialize. I need to ritualize. It felt so good. But something else happened with Peter Gilmore's appearance in my sphere of influence. When I, started seeing what it was that he was, how the Church of Satan was at the time. I had an urge. I wanted, at the time, I had an ex-wife, I wanted to get married in Satan's name. I wanted a satanic wedding. There was no available material unless you had created it yourself. There was no satanic wedding proper until the release of the Satanic Scriptures. When Gilmore released the Satanic Scriptures, there was finally a choice for a satanic wedding. Now, I have a great idea for the satanic wedding, but we need to erase this again so I can get on with how I move forward. What am I going to do? I don't know who is going to perform this satanic wedding. I have no local contacts. Okay? So now, we need the satanic wedding. But this is going to lead to a lot of things. Who's going to do it? Who exactly is going to perform the satanic wedding? If I'm going to be married, I can't perform it, and I'm the only one who I know has been performing these things. Obviously, they are. But, I don't have a landline. I'm not going to be calling up Peter Gilmore like, hey, marry me. It doesn't work that way, firstly. So, I need somebody to help me with my satanic wedding. Right? So, this is one of the 5 points. I'm not going to get into the fucking details of Satanism. I told myself I wouldn't do that. Go look it up. churchofsatan.com. One of the 5 point, they have a 5-point It's what the Church of Satan is trying to do. And one of it is creation of artificial humanoids. You have polite and socially acceptable slavery over something, right? You can control whatever you like, and if you have the means or motive, or you can create something, then you can do whatever you like. What I did was I created this fucking automaton. I had to build. What I was doing was I was building the priest that was going to marry us. So I had a great interest in having a satanic wedding. I did. I wanted to get married in the name of Satan. But who was going to do this? I don't have any connections here. I don't know anybody. I don't have anybody to ritualize with either. So we had with this the 5-point pentagonal revisionism. All right, that's coined by the Church of Satan, and we're going to create our own now. All right, I had to make the priest that I needed to celebrate with. I needed somebody to celebrate with me. I had no one to ritualize with. I had to make him. So I created this automaton. I called him Yen Lo Wang. It's a Chinese demon who rules hell. I have only his head left. He used to be a 7-foot-tall monster. He had all kinds of additional abilities. A spring-loaded pulley would have him crash his weapon down on somebody's head. If you were checking out, he was so tall he didn't even fit in the room. His head had to be adjusted because it would touch the ceiling from the floor. I do have. I can show you just Yen Lo Wang's head. He's got some wires here too. If I plugged him in, his crown lights up. It's funny because if you can look real close, there's these little holes. These little bugs that have been living inside of him. They're like tiny beetles. I don't know what they are, but they lived there for a long time, and I'm totally okay with it as long as they stay right where they're supposed to be. That's perfectly fine. So I made Yen Lo Wang, and he was supposed to be. He would have been the priest to marry us. He was the one. It was Yen Lo Wang. Yen Lo Wang. The ancient Chinese ruler of hell. One of the infernal names. The Satanic Bible mentions a lot of names. All of these names are worth looking into. In fact, each one of them has become kind of a project for me. Every one of the infernal names. Not every one. I haven't gotten to them all. There's a lot. But each one is a course of study to find out, what do people believe? Those people who believe that particular devil or deity, what did they believe about